Welcome back to my TCU Dynasty here on College Football 26, and today we are ready to kick off Season 2 of this Dynasty as we host the North Carolina Tar Heels. And it would appear our defense got off to a good start. North Carolina got the ball first, but would have to punt it away, and now we're going to come out and hand off to Jeremy Payne for a gain of a couple yards. I would say expectations are relatively high for the TCU team this year. Last year we made it to the playoffs and got bounced in the first round, and then we got a few receivers in the transfer portal like that man. And that would be receiver Malachi Coleman, who is going to be a massive part of our offense this year, but this time we're going to go to small for a gain of about 7 yards, which will bring up a 2nd and 3 for us. We'll come out in shotgun. We're going to throw the screen to the outside. That's caught by Payne, who will try to juke his way to the outside, but gets the first down. Looks like Jeremy Payne is going to stay in the game here on the next play as we hand it to him again, and that guy just straight up doesn't pick up his block, and we get nothing. It'll now be a 2nd and 10. With no one else in the backfield, getting under pressure, throws, bounces around, and finally it will fall incomplete and bring up a 3rd and 10. Let's just try to keep this drive moving. Hoover will take the snap. And we're going to go downfield to Coleman again, who will not make the catch that time. It was thrown behind him, and now Ryan Hughes, one of our starting linemen, is injured. But we will now trust our freshman kicker, Jamie Battle. He was the #1 kicker in the nation coming out of high school, and the kick is away, and it's good. We get the ball back. It's still 3-0, but now we start at our own 10-yard line. It'll be a jet toss to the outside, and Coleman's not going to find any space. That brings up a 2nd and 12. We'll drop back to pass. I want to throw this one to the outside. It's caught by Payne, but he immediately goes out of bounds. Okay, actually some really good news. They would review that call and actually overturned it. So instead of a 3rd and 17, it's a 3rd and 12. We'll drop back to pass. We're going to fire this over the middle, and he overthrows everybody. We will punt it away. But on the following drive, our defense could not hold them. So now it's a 7-3 ball game, and we're going to come out with a loss of 1 in the backfield. That brings up a 2nd and 11. We'll drop back to pass. We're going to go to Coleman downfield. He'll make the catch for the first down. On the very next play, it would be a screen pass to Jeremy Payne that would get 3 yards. And now it's a 2nd and 7. We go back to Payne, who goes to the outside and will set up a 3rd and 3. Our new running back, Dawson Pendergrass, is now checked into the game for the 3rd down as we look to continue the drive. It's a quick throw caught by Braylon James over the middle for the first down. Not a massive gain, but it's all we needed. Now we'll drop back to pass again. And a wide open Pimpton will make the catch inside the 20 and get his way down to the 12-yard line. And this will be the final play of the first quarter. We hand it off to our running back in Jeremy Payne. Gets a gain of a couple yards, but once again, Ryan Hughes is injured. But either way, that play brings up a 2nd and 6. Hoover will drop back to pass. We're going to go to the end zone, and that is caught by McQuinn for his first official catch. And there's a flag, but I think it's going to be PI on the defense. Touchdown TCU. We now get to come back out on our next drive from the 48-yard line. It'll be a handoff to Payne, who goes to the outside but cannot get away from that guy and loses a yard. Let's see if we can get anything on the ground here on a 2nd and 11. We'll go back to Payne up the middle, and he will find positive yards, setting up a 3rd and 2 this time. He will remain in the game for the next play as we go back to him up the middle and get the first down. On the next play, we come back in shotgun. Kind of shocked that Payne is still in the game. We'll drop back to pass. We're going to go underneath. That's caught by McQuinn for a gain of a few yards. Facing a 2nd and 3, and we are going to go to our running back here, but he's going to get stuffed in the backfield. North Carolina is really not letting us run the ball too much today. On the next play, we'll run this RPO, and it'll be a handoff to Pendergrass, who goes up the middle and gets the first down. North Carolina would suffer an injury on that play, which is why the clock has stopped. But now we're going to go to Pimpton underneath, who has blockers and the first down all the way down to the 2. Here we go on a 1st and goal. We'll take the snap, and it's going to be the RPO to the outside, but that wasn't a great call. I honestly figured we could get it out to the tight end fast enough for him to cut upfield, but I guess not. On the next play, it'll just be a screen pass caught by Payne, who will walk into the end zone. And on the following drive for us, we are up 17-7, and we get the start at the 42-yard line. We're going to drop back and look to pass. We're going to finally let this one go, and I don't know why I let it go there. It falls incomplete, thankfully. I saw him come open for a second, but I waited way too long to throw that. Now a 2nd and 10. Out of a shotgun set, we'll drop back to pass again. We're going to try to go to our tight end, but it gets deflected down by the rusher. To avoid a 3-and-out with great field position here, we'll drop back and look to pass. We're going to throw this one underneath. That'll be caught by Coleman, but he won't get anywhere. It brings up a 4th and 8. And how long would this field goal be? It's not even giving me the option. I had to manually go find it, but we're going to attempt a 57-yard field goal with a freshman kicker. Snap, hold, kick is away, and it will be good. Moving on with 3.5 minutes to go here in the first half. We get the ball back. We'll hand off to Jeremy Payne, who will go up the middle for a gain of 6 yards. That brings up a 2nd and 4. Hoover out of shotgun. We'll drop back to pass. And we're going to dump this one off to our running back. Payne will make the catch and get immediately brought down for just the gain of a yard. That'll bring up a 3rd and 3. We'll come out as he is the only one in the backfield. We're going to throw it underneath to McQuinn, who makes a jumping reception. Our quarterback's got to be a bit more accurate at that, but it will take us down to the 2-minute timeout. The next play, we start in a pistol formation. We'll run the play action. Now roll into the outside. We're going to let this one go deep downfield for Coleman, who makes the catch all the way down to the 3-yard line. He is having a pretty great first half. North Carolina would end up calling a timeout with 1:40 to go in the half. Now we'll give this one to Jeremy Payne, and he will get in for his first rushing touchdown on the season. We end up getting the ball back, still up by 20 with 56 seconds to go here in the first half. We'll see if we can make anything happen. We are going to go downfield to Coleman, who will make the catch and get brought down to the 50. Letting the clock run down to about 25 seconds now. We'll take the snap and look to pass again. This time we're going to try to throw this one to the outside. That'll be caught by McQuinn, and we'll burn our timeout. With 21 seconds to go here in the first half, from the 40-yard line, we'll drop back to pass. We're going to throw this one underneath. That'll be caught by Coleman, who will cut upfield and get out of bounds. With 15 seconds to go here in the first half, he'll take the snap. And we're going to go downfield for Coleman again, who will make the catch and into the end zone. Touchdown TCU. The Minnesota transfer has come up massive in the first half. Well, I told you guys expectations were high for this team going into the season, and I feel like that first half we kind of lived up to them. We start the second half with a 9-yard carry, which will obviously set up a 2nd and 1 for us. Back in his shotgun set, we'll take the snap. It'll be a screen. We're going right back to Payne, who will make the catch. That man misses his block, but we get the first down out of bounds of the 40. Hoover back in his shotgun set again. We'll take the snap, run the play action, and now we're going to roll to the outside and probably just end up throwing this ball away because no one's on this side of the field. We now face a 2nd and 10. Out of a pistol set, we'll take the snap. It'll be a quick throw, caught by Small. Tried to hurdle a man, but get body slammed down for no gain, and that brings up a 3rd and 10. It'll be a shotgun set for TCU. He drops back and looks to pass. We're going to fire to Coleman over the middle, who will make the catch, cuts back in, and is brought down to the 38. Now in North Carolina territory, Hoover will take the snap and look to pass. And under pressure, get rid of it, and that's going to get intercepted after getting bounced around. Are you kidding me, EA? Come on, whatever. Touchdown, North Carolina. That one is on me for trying to throw that ball a little bit too late, but now we come out of the 30-yard line to start our next drive, and the RPO got knocked down at the line. And I want to point out how massive that actually was, because if he doesn't deflect that, this is Major Everhart, who has 98 speed, and there's just one guy on the outside, and I feel like that would have been gone. But instead, we'll face a 2nd and 10. And drop back to pass again. Rolling to the outside. We'll let this one go downfield. That'll be caught by McQuinn, who goes out of bounds. Now back in shotgun again. We'll take the snap. It'll be another RPO. This time they don't deflect it. Braylon James makes the catch on the outside and has a massive gain into North Carolina territory. Out of another shotgun set, this one will be a draw play. Hand off to Payne, who goes to the outside and gets the first down. On the next play, we would get no gain from Dawson Pendergrass to make it a 2nd and 10. It'll be a toss play to the outside, and yeah, that play is just not near as good as it was last year. That now brings up a 3rd and 14 for TCU. We'll take the snap, and a quick throw to the outside. That'll be caught by McQuinn, who will break that tackle, and I tried to hurdle that man. Had I just tried to stiff arm him, we probably would have got the first down. I got a little too showboaty. However, we are going to go for it. On the 4th and 1, it's a QB sneak, and we get the first down. As an Eagles fan, I will say the best play in football right there. 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Hand off to Jeremy Payne, who goes to the outside, runs into his own blocker, and I can't get off of him, brought down to the 1. Dawson Pendergrass will check into the game at running back, and we'll see if we can get him his first touchdown as a member of this team. And no, we can't. Hit in the backfield. With a shotgun formation now, we'll take the snap. It's an RPO that we'll just hand off to Payne up the middle, and he will not get into the end zone. And I think this time we are just going to settle for the short field goal instead of going for it. Just take the points. We come out for our next drive and begin with a 4-yard run. So now it's a 2nd and 6. We'll drop back, and we're going to go to Pimpton over the middle, who will have the first down. Just a couple plays later, we jump into the 4th quarter where we face a 3rd and 1. We're going to take that RPO to the outside. That's caught by Coleman for the first down. A couple plays following that one, it's now a 3rd and 6 from about the 30-yard line. Hoover will drop back and look to pass. Trying to convert on the play. We're going to let this one go deep downfield for Jeremy Payne, but it will fall incomplete, which will once again bring out our freshman kicker in Jamie Battle. And that one may not be good. Never mind, is going right down the middle. It looks like the defense would allow a touchdown, but I have finally subbed out our quarterback here. We keep Jeremy Payne in the game as a 3rd down back. He's not going to be our main back, but he will occasionally come in. but there is an injury now for UNC. All right, I may need to sub him out as our third down back as well. We're definitely going to do that. Sure, Palmer will come in as our third down back. We'll go to Payne once again up the middle, and this will be his biggest run of the day. North Carolina suffering back-to-back injuries, but now we'll hand this one to Palmer, who will go up the middle, breaking tackles, and Palmer having a solid carry to start his day, a 9-yard run. On the following play, Pendergrass would come in and get an easy first down, and then we hit a 6-yard pass to Palmer, but now Palmer up the middle all the way down to the 16. Later on in the drive, we face a 3rd and 3 from the 9-yard line. It'll be another handoff to Palmer, and he will have another first down for us. Well, there would be some injury timeouts, so we couldn't run the clock near as much as I wanted to. On a 3rd and goal, we're at the 2-minute timeout. Handoff to Pendergrass up the middle, and that's going to set up a 4th and goal from the 1. And we can't run out the rest of the clock, so why not just come out and kick another field goal for our freshman kicker, who has had a fantastic day. We managed to get revenge. This game was probably decided after the second quarter, where we put up 31 points. Hoover had an amazing day, but I would say the real MVP of today is Malachi Coleman. The transfer out of Minnesota came up massive several times today. But our quarterback did have a pretty fantastic day, even outside of throwing the ball to him. 31 of 41 for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. On the ground, Payne ended up with 79 yards, but on 21 carries, and did find the end zone one time. Palmer actually came in and played really well, 43 yards on just 5 carries. And then receiving, Coleman 12 for 161 and a score, McQuinn 7 for 64 and a score, and Jeremy Payne also caught a touchdown. With no new recruiting news so far, we'll jump into the next game as we get to head to Dallas to take on the number 14 ranked SMU Mustangs in the battle for the Iron Skillet. And they would get the ball first, but could not do anything with it. So now we come out on a 1st and 10 with a handoff to the outside to Payne, who will have the first down into SMU territory. It's a pretty fun start when your running back can get off to a 21-yard gain. Now from the 45, we'll take the snap. It'll be an RPO that we give it to Payne again, and this time it's going to be a loss of 2. That now sets up a 2nd and 12. We'll take the snap and look to pass. We're going to throw this underneath. That's caught by Braylon James, who will get close to the marker. It's a 3rd and inches. And it'll be another shotgun set for TCU. We'll take the snap, and it's a handoff to Payne up the middle for the first down. On the next play, we would lose a yard going back to Payne, so now it's a 2nd and 11 as Hoover will take the snap. And we'll throw this one underneath. That's caught by Payne, and that's going to set up a 3rd and 7. To try and keep this drive moving, Hoover will take the snap. Roll to the outside. And we'll let this one go to Payne downfield, who will make the catch and get brought down about the 7. So far, Jeremy Payne has been a massive part of our offense. I think we've only not gone to him on one play. On 1st and goal, we'll go back to him to the outside, and he'll get down to the 5. And I've been waiting for Pendergrass to check into the game on this drive because we have gone to Payne so much, and he finally will. We'll take the snap. It's an RPO that we give to Pendergrass, and he goes up over the top and into the end zone. Touchdown, TCU. That's also his first touchdown as a member of this team. And as we get the ball back, we are still up 7-0. We start at the 41-yard line. It will be a draw play. Handoff to Payne, who goes up the middle, and will end up with a 7-yard carry to make it a 2nd and 3. On the next play out of shotgun, we will look to pass, though. We're going to go to McQuinn on the outside, who will make that catch and get brought down about the 40. Once again, out of a shotgun set, we'll look to pass, rolling to the outside. Need to get rid of it, and that one's going to fall incomplete. That is now going to set up a 2nd and 10. We'll take the snap, drop back to pass again. Need to get rid of it one more time, and it's going to fall incomplete. Trying to find McQuinn again. It'll set up a 3rd down. With a shotgun set, this would be about a 57 or a 56-yard field goal for our kicker. So I'd like to at least get a little bit closer if we could, but we're going to get the first down to Braylon James. Nearing the end of the first quarter here, we'll take the snap, hand off to Payne, who will go up the middle and end up with a 10-yard gain, getting close to the marker. They rule it a 2nd and inches, but that will take us into the second quarter. And we would then start the second quarter with a quick run to Jeremy Payne, who barely got the first down. So we moved up to the 17-yard line for a 1st and 10. Dropping back to pass, under pressure, need to get rid of it. Finally will, caught by McQuinn, and that'll be a 4-yard play. Hoover back in shotgun again. We'll take the snap. This time we're going to try to stand in the pocket. We'll step up and throw this underneath. Never mind. So it brings up another 3rd down on this drive. We'll take the snap and fire this over the middle. That's caught by Coleman, who's into the end zone. Touchdown TCU. We go up 14-0. And it will remain that score as we come back out for our next drive, starting at our own 9-yard line. It's a handoff to Payne, who goes up the middle for a gain of 8. I know this play has not worked out so far, but we're going to try it again. 2nd and 2. It'll be a jet toss to the outside. The block actually kind of holds up there, and Coleman's going to have a massive gain here across the 50. Following that play, we would have an incomplete pass and then no gain on an RPO, so it brings up a 3rd and 10. Dropping back to pass, we're just going to launch this deep downfield for Coleman, who's in a foot race and cannot get there. But our defense will continue to hold them out of the end zone. We get the ball back with 6.5 minutes to go here in the first half at about the 40-yard line. And now we're going to go deep downfield for Coleman again. And this time he will make the catch and get brought down to the 3-yard line. Wanted to start this drive with a shot play, and that's exactly what I did. So now on 1st and goal, handoff to Payne, who was met immediately. We'll come back out in a pistol set, take the snap, and it'll be an RPO that they read perfectly. The receiver was covered and the running back was covered. Now it's going to be a 3rd and goal. Hoover will take the snap and look to pass. Waiting for someone to come open. No one ever does. And after that massive play to start the drive, we will have to send out Jamie Battle for about a 34-yard try, I think it said. And I'm really bad at kicks from the side, so we'll see how well I can do here. Snap, hold, kick is away, and this one will be good. 1st and 10 from about the 45-yard line as we come back out with 3.5 minutes to go here in the first half now. Handoff to our running back, and he's going nowhere. Don't know what it is so far on the season. We have not really been able to get Jeremy Payne going. We'll come out with a screen pass on the next play, and he will have a 1st down here. Juke his way to the outside and get met and brought down to the 38. It'll be another shotgun set for TCU as Hoover comes out, and a quick throw will be caught by McQuinn, who will break that tackle, and he is gone. Touchdown TCU. We make it 24-0. However, right before halftime, SMU would finally get on the board with a field goal. We come out to start the second half. It'll be an RPO as Braylon James will get met and brought down to the 40. On the next play, we come out in pistol. We'll take the snap. Looks like they're bringing a lot of pressure. We're going to go deep downfield. That's a wide open Coleman, and he is gone. Touchdown TCU. However, they would then come out and respond with a touchdown of their own, so that makes it 31-10 as we start our next drive with an RPO that Coleman just doesn't come down with. In a shotgun set for the next play, we'll hand this one to Jeremy Payne, and Payne will go upfield, breaking tackles, getting the 1st down, brought down the 45, and SMU has an injury. Hoover back in a shotgun set again. We'll take the snap and look to pass. We're just launches up from McQuinn. I want to see if he can win this in one-on-one coverage, and no, he can't. That is completely fine. I am perfectly okay with taking shots like that just end up incomplete on 1st down. We'll come out on the next play. It'll be an RPO. This time Coleman will make the catch and get close to the marker. It's a 3rd and 1. Another shotgun set for TCU, and it'll be a handoff to Payne, who goes right up the middle. And why are these guys not picking up blocks? Had Coleman picked up that block, we would be gone. But instead, we're at the 22-yard line. Take the snap, and a quick throw to the outside, caught by Jeremy Payne, who will spin back inside and get close to the marker. They rule it 2nd and inches. And we're just going to go right back to the running back on the very next play. Handoff to Payne to go up the middle, and Payne is into the end zone. But I guess the SMU offense has finally woken up as they found their way into the end zone again to make it 38-17. We're going to go to McQuinn for a gain of about 9, and that will take us into the final quarter of this game. We'll come out to face a 2nd and 1 now. It'll be another handoff to Payne, who will go to the outside, end up with a 1st down, brought down to the 39. Now a couple plays later, it's a 3rd and 5 as we try to keep this drive moving to chew away at the clock. We're going to go to Pimpton over the middle, who will make the catch for the 1st down. We would go right back to Payne on the next play for a gain of 3. So on 2nd and 7, we'll draw back to pass. Roll to the outside, not seeing anyone come open, and want to keep burning time, we'll take the sack. But that now sets up a 3rd and 14. We'll take the snap out of shotgun again, and we're going to go deep down the sideline, but he's going to overthrow Coleman. But unfortunately for the Mustangs, they could not do anything with the ball. We have it back. It's a 2nd and 8. We're going to throw this underneath. That's caught by Pimpton, who will get the 1st down. But a couple plays following that, it's now a 3rd and 11 from the 33. We'll take the snap, and we're going to launch this deep for Small, and that'll be caught. No, he could not come down with it. So we will attempt a 50-yard field goal. That was almost an incredibly impressive catch by him. But we line it up, the kick is away, and this should be good. SMU would follow that up with another touchdown, so they make it 41-25. I believe that also means they got a 2-point try, as we are just going to try to run down the clock. They are burning their first time out. Now a 2nd and 13. We'll take the snap. It'll be another RPO. This time it's going to Pendergrass up the middle, and he's trying to stretch because I wanted to truck somebody. I really wish they would have made that a completely different button, because it really feels like anytime I try to truck someone, he just stretches the ball out, and one of these times I'm going to fumble in a big situation and be pretty pissed off about it. But obviously SMU would burn their 2nd timeout following that play, so now it's a 3rd and 4. We go back to Pendergrass, and he is not going to have the 1st down. And do we kick a long field goal? I don't think so. I think we're just going to let this clock run down close to the 2-minute timeout and go ahead and punt this one away. And following that punt, SMU would have a 4-and-out in simulation. We would come back in, kneel it down, and get out of here with a win to start the season 2-0. In this game, Josh Hoover finishes 19 for 28, 360 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Our running back actually did break 100 yards today. He got 101 and a score. Pendergrass also got a touchdown. And then receiving, Malachi Coleman, once again our best receiver, 6 catches for 176 yards and 2 scores. And Devin McQuinn, 4 for 64 and a score. Before I jump into the next game, I want to show you guys this on the recruiting screen. Isaiah Rashid, we were actually in the lead last week. Look at the jump Ohio State just took. They didn't have a visit or anything, and we could not hard sell him last week. I did not have enough information, but now that I can, I don't think it's really going to matter because I think he's going to commit to Ohio State, so I think it's better just to take him off the board. But moving on past that, we now get to jump into our next game as we are back in Ammon G. Carter Stadium and taking on the UTSA Roadrunners. And we will actually get the ball to start today. So from the 25-yard line, we'll run the play action. And now we're going to go deep downfield. We'll finally just let this one rip. That single coverage all the way downfield, and it'll fall incomplete. Wanted to see if we could come out with a big play. Obviously does not work. So now 2nd and 10. We will take this RPO to the outside, though. That's caught by Coleman, and he may have the big play anyway. Inside the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown TCU. At his current rate, Malachi Coleman's going to end up in the Heisman race. But now 1st and 10 from the 32 as we start our next drive. Rolling to the outside, throwing downfield, that'll fall incomplete. Now facing a 2nd and 10, Hoover will take the snap. And we're going to let this one go deep downfield as well, and that one will be tipped and then intercepted. All right, not going to lie, that one's on me. I may have gotten a little bit too greedy and too aggressive to just try to force an early blowout here. We'll start with a handoff on this drive. All right, we'll try that again. 2nd and 9. Take the snap, hand off to Payne, who will go up the middle and end up setting up a 3rd and 2 at about the 36-yard line. And on the very next play, Dawson Pendergrass will check into the game. And we will give it to him, but he's going to get met and brought down in the backfield. 4th and 3. But as you saw, the coach suggestions were to go for it, so that's exactly what I'll do. Drop back, and we're going to go to Pimpton underneath, who will not make the catch. Turnover on downs. UTSA would take advantage of that. It's now 7-3 as they got a field goal on that drive. We'll come out with a screen pass to, I believe, Jeremy Payne, who's going to go to the outside and end up setting up a 1st down to the 48. And it looks like Payne will stay in the game here as we're going to run a draw play right up the middle, and he's going to end up with a solid about 8-yard run. Bringing up a 2nd and 2. We'll take the snap and look to pass. We're going to go deep downfield for Coleman, who's in coverage and does not make the catch. I should probably start taking this team a little bit more seriously before we get put in a situation that I really don't want to be in. On 3rd and 2, we are not going to get the 1st down. This time, we're going to play it a little bit safer. QB draw or a QB sneak, and we get the 1st down. So our drive will continue. We are not going to let this run into the 2nd quarter. I want to get one more snap off here. Roll to the outside. We're going to go downfield to Coleman, who will make the catch and try to juke his way back, but be brought down around the 10. We'll come out on the very next play to start the 2nd quarter out of a shotgun set. Handoff to Payne, who will try to cut back in, but there is a flag, and it's probably coming back. Indeed, it does come back. That makes it a 1st and 13, weirdly enough, as we'll hand it to Payne, and he's going to turn that 1st and 13 into a 2nd and 9. Now on the next play, Hoover will come out to pass, and we got a wide open small on the outside, but that's going to make it a 3rd and 5 at about the 7. Well, this is quite an idea here. No one is over Malachi Coleman, so a quick throw to the end zone is going to get intercepted. They fully baited me into that, and this may end up being a pick 6. That was a terrible decision. I just tried to throw it to him immediately, and now Coleman may be the one to chase him down, and he is. But they did take over at the 8-yard line, so I can't really blame the defense for allowing a touchdown. Now we're down by 3, just because I was pretty stupid to make a decision before the ball was actually snapped, as Pendergrass will truck a man for the 1st down to the 42. Now we come out in a 5-wide set. Hoover will take the snap and look to pass. Rolling to the outside. We're finally going to let this one go to Coleman downfield, who's open and makes the catch to about the 10. Another shotgun formation for TCU. We'll take the snap and force this one to the end zone. It's caught by Coleman, but knocked out of his hands due to that really just awful animation. From the 11-yard line, handoff to Payne to go up the middle. He'll break one tackle and get brought down to the 4. Now it's a 3rd and 3. We'll take the snap. We hand off to Payne, who will go up the middle, and he does not have the 1st down. It's 4th and inches, but we are once again just going to run the QB sneak right up the middle. I have no problem doing that on a 4th and inches. and hopefully he can get it. Well, there's no one lined up over the center, so this should actually be pretty simple for Hoover here, and he gets the first down. And now Payne is lined up in the backfield. We give it to him to go up the middle. He breaks that tackle and gets into the end zone. All right, kind of got the offense back on track on the last drive. Now a 1st and 10. We're going to pimp it over the middle, but he throws it high, but he makes the catch anyway. From the UTSA 42-yard line, we'll take the snap, run the play action. Looking to go downfield, not seeing anyone come open, and we take the sack. Now it's going to be a 2nd and 21. Take the snap and throw this one underneath to Coleman, who will make the catch and make it a 3rd and 12 at about the 43. Hoover out of his shotgun set will drop back to pass again. We're going to try to throw this one to the outside to McQuinn, and it's going to be overthrown, and on 4th and 12, we'll punt it away. But I will always take situations like this. Apparently, the defense scored a touchdown, so it's now 21-10. We'll come out, run this RPO that's caught by Small, and he'll have the first down to about the 30. Back in his shotgun set again, we'll take the snap, and it's once again going to be a screen, this time to Payne on the outside, and that's going to be a 5-yard play. Setting up now a 2nd and 5, we'll take the snap, and we go back to Payne again, who will go up the middle and end up setting up a 3rd and 1 for us. So we're going to run this halfback power. I imagine Pendergrass will check into the game, and he will. We just need the first down. Take the snap, hand off to Pendergrass, who will get the first and get brought down to the 20. We'll burn our first time out. Hoover out of another shotgun formation will drop back. We're going to throw this one to Coleman over the middle, who will make the catch for a gain of about 7. With under 30 seconds to go here in the first half, we'll take the snap and look to pass, roll to the outside, dump this one off to our tight end, who will make the catch, stiff arm a man, and fight his way into the end zone. Touchdown TCU. We're up 28-10. And then UTSA would get the ball to start the second half, but apparently had a turnover immediately. So now it's a 1st and 10 for us, and we're getting intercepted. Why did I try to throw that? Because I'm an idiot, and for some reason thought I could get it past the linebacker. Well, our defense still wouldn't allow any points on the drive, so it's 28-10 as we come back out. We would begin this drive with a 1-yard run, and now it's 2nd and 9. We're going downfield. That'll be caught by Pimpton, who will break a couple tackles and get brought down to the 34, getting the first down. On the following first down, we would lose a yard to make it a 2nd and 11. Now we're going to throw this over the middle. That's caught by Coleman, who will have the first down to about the 44-yard line. On the very next play, we would hit McQuinn for a 4-yard gain, so it's a 2nd and 6. Now we'll come out and look to pass. Looking to go downfield. We're just going to step up, and we're going to take off with Hoover for the first down. I wanted to slide, but did not have the time and get brought down to the 39. Looks like Pendergrass is in at running back. We'll take the snap, and it will be an RPO to him as he goes up the middle, getting the first down, making that man miss, and getting brought down to the 24. Hoover now back in his shotgun set. We'll take the snap and look to pass again. We're going to throw this one underneath. That'll be caught by Payne. He'll break that tackle and have another first down. Out of a shotgun set again, he'll drop back, and we're going to go to the end zone, and that'll be incomplete. It hit Coleman in the hands, but he could not come down with it. Now a 2nd and 10. Hoover will drop back and look to pass. We're going to step up in the pocket, and Hoover's just going to take off and walk into the end zone. On our following drive, it is still 35-10. We are still in the 3rd quarter, and now we face a possible 3-and-out with a 3rd and 3. We're going to let this one go downfield. That'll be caught by Braylon James for the first down, brought down at the UTSA 28. Now we come out in a pistol set. Hoover will take the snap, run the play action. Looking to go downfield. We're going to go to Coleman in the end zone, but he may have overthrown him, and he did. On the next play, it's a 2nd and 10. We'll drop back, and we're just going to look to throw this one downfield to Payne. I threw it way too late, but he still came up with the grab to set up a 1st and goal at about the 9. And that play would take us into the final quarter of this game for a 1st and goal, and it's going to be a hit in the backfield. That play really didn't look good from the start because our quarterback ran into the fullback, but now on the next play, we'll drop back, and he's going to be under pressure and take the sack. That's going to bring up a 3rd and goal from about the 19-yard line. We'll drop back and look to pass. We'll get rid of this one. That'll be caught by Small, who will be met and brought down, but that is just going to bring out Jamie Battle to try to continue what is a perfect season for him so far. And hopefully I didn't just do the kicker jinx here. Snap, hole kick is away, and I may have. Never mind, it's still good. And you will now notice a change at quarterback. True freshman Jalen Horn has stepped in. I want to get him in a few times this season. I also want to get true freshman Sal Quasi in the game just a bit, but probably not in this one. On the first throw of his collegiate career, it'll be caught by James for a gain of about 6 yards. Now facing a 2nd and 4. We'll take the snap, and we go to our running back. Payne will spin out a man and get all the way down to about the 5-yard line. Now Jalen Horn comes out as the only one in the backfield. We'll drop back to pass, roll to the outside. He's going to take off and just walk into the end zone for his first ever career touchdown. On our next drive, we will begin with a 5-yard loss off an option play. So we'll see if we can make up for it here. Never mind, he's going to get sacked to bring up a 3rd and 26. Well, this may be a perfect time to see his arm, so we'll drop back to pass. And we're going to launch this downfield for Coleman. Okay, he's got a cannon and finds Coleman into the end zone. Touchdown TCU. All right, so what we've seen in this kid so far, I think the future looks pretty bright. Looks like UTSA would come away with a field goal on the next drive, but now we're going to have a QB draw right up the middle with Horn, who will try to juke his way to the outside, fumble the ball. UTSA is going to recover that. Well, that's a very unfortunate fumble for the freshman quarterback. They would get a touchdown out of it, but once we got the ball back, we just ran down the rest of the clock and are off to a 3-0 start to the year. Not a great day from Josh Hoover. He goes 19 of 30 for 343 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. All of them pretty much my bad. They were just dumb throws by me. And then running the ball, we got 71 yards from Jeremy Payne on 16 carries. Horn also ran in for a touchdown, as did Josh Hoover. And then receiving, is anyone really shocked? Malachi Coleman, 7 for 229 and 2 scores. This guy is a monster for us. And Pimpton also came away with a receiving touchdown. And now with those 3 games out of the way, we are officially done with our out-of-conference schedule. Week 4 is a bye week, and then we jump into conference play. And that is exactly where we will pick up in the next episode as we take on the 0-3 Kansas State Wildcats.